After a player spends a certain amount of time in the league, us fans pick up on things and learn about their habits. You know, like how they play and carry themselves on the court. We pretty much know what to expect from them. However, every once in a while, out of nowhere, they randomly throw us a little curveball and deviate away from their normal behavior. We're about to take a look at some out of character moments, actions that would be considered rare for that specific player, whether it has to do with their appearance or just simply on the court moments. Enjoy the video. Throughout LeBron's time in the NBA, we've seen his facial hair go through various stages, clean shaven to a goatee to a full-on beard. You know, just the normal journey every man goes through. But you may remember the time he rocked a certain style that is definitely not for everyone, the mustache. During the beginning of the 2015-16 NBA season, he sported a mustache for a short period of time, and let's just say that it got some mixed reactions. One comment said LeBron should rock the mustache all the time. However, the TNT crew, specifically Charles Barkley, wasn't really feeling it. The crew was set to talk about the Cavs-Bucks game that took place earlier that night, but they didn't really talk much about the actual game. It seemed like they were too distracted by LeBron's mustache more than anything.
I'm just saying. You got no stones, man. Yeah, say it. I didn't say what you said. No, I said it. Yeah, I'm saying, LeBron, get rid of that mustache. That thing gotta go, man. He look like a trainer. LeBron, get rid of that mustache. That mustache got to go.
Now, maybe they just weren't aware, but there was actually a reason for this. It wasn't just LeBron who chose to rock a mustache. The entire Cavaliers team did it as well, in an attempt to show support for Movember. For those who don't know, Movember is an annual November event that is meant to raise awareness for men's health issues. Here's J.R. Smith recalling how this came about. He, referring to LeBron, just walked in the locker room and said everybody has to cut their beards and keep their mustache, and everybody fell in line. So even though there was a reason behind it, you still gotta give him props for actually doing it, no matter if people were a fan of how it looked or not. Now, this next one was an out-of-character moment for LeBron in terms of within the game. Did you know that it took damn near 15 years for LeBron to get ejected?
He's on his foul, he's gonna get a tech, and he's out of here! LeBron James has just been ejected. That's the first ejection of LeBron James' career.
You heard that correctly. That was the very first time he ever got thrown out of a game. All it took was well over 1,000 games and into his second stint with the Cavaliers to get it done. I would say that qualifies as out of character. The only other time he was forced to hit the showers early was recently when he got into that altercation with Isaiah Stewart.
There's then a flagrant foul penalty 2, resulting in the ejection of LeBron James.
The most important thing is that LeBron James has been ejected.
It's no secret that the Lakers and Celtics just might be the most intense rivalry in the history of sports. But for one night, all of that bad blood went straight out the window. In 1984, the Lakers were visiting the Boston Garden for a regular season game when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the all-time field goals leader.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has just become, ladies and gentlemen, the all-time field goal champion of the NBA passing wilt. Listen to this. They're announcing it on the PA system right now. 12,682 field goals.
Now, let me ask you something. Do you guys hear anything strange?
Look at Kareem. He's really happy. Get the camera on Kareem. Both fists in the air.
That's right, what you just heard were the cheers of the Boston Celtics fans, directed towards a Los Angeles Laker. It's crazy that Kareem just so happened to break that record in the Boston Garden of all places. The fans could have easily decided to just not even acknowledge or even boo his achievement, and nobody would have even batted an eye. But no, surprisingly, they gave him a huge standing standing ovation. I mean, it's one thing to cheer for a former Laker like Shaq when they're actually a member of the Celtics, but to applaud a player while he's still on the Lakers is pretty unusual considering he wasn't even retiring or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, this is certainly a beautiful moment, one that I'm sure nobody ever thought would happen. The other time the Celtics fan base essentially broke character was when Kobe played his final game in Boston during his farewell tour, which was understandable, of course. Now, I'm curious to see if Boston fans will do the same thing for LeBron when he inevitably breaks Kareem's all-time scoring record, which it looks like he'll probably be in a Laker uniform when he does it. Obviously, it's not a guarantee that he'll even be in Boston when he breaks that record. All I'm saying is it'll be interesting to see how Celtics fans handle it if he were to break it in their building. Who knows after what he just recently said about them.
Why do you hate Boston? Because they racist. That's why.
Moving on from one Laker to another, I recently came across a video titled Kobe Bryant The Headband Game, and I instantly wanted to click on it because I was like, wait, what would Kobe look like in a headband? And if you thought the same thing, well then here you go.
Kobe's got a headband on. They look good. Boy, they look different in those uniforms. Now to Fisher, over to Kobe, a 20-foot jumper, 2 points.
Now, this wasn't just any game. It was also a night dedicated to honoring the championships that were won in Minneapolis as well, which would explain the uniforms they were wearing. Believe it or not, that wasn't the only time Kobe wore a headband. Did you know that he was also seen wearing one against the Blazers back in the day? You might be saying, who cares? But hey, the title does say rare, so why not take a look at it?
That is not a good sign, but he is able to continue, fortunately, for Los Angeles.
Well, most of the bitterness is been experienced by the Portland Trailblazers. They've had their heart broken so many times.
Speaking of the Blazers, Damian Lillard also mixed it up a little bit one time. I vividly remember getting ready to watch this game between the Blazers and Heat a little over a year ago, and right before the game tipped off, I couldn't really find Lillard anywhere. I was like, wait, is he not playing this game? But then I realized that he was uncharacteristically wearing a headband. I guess I wasn't really used to seeing him sport a headband. At first, I thought that it must have just been a spur-of-the-moment decision, but it turns out that it wasn't as random after all. It was actually Lillard's way of honoring one of his closest friends and former teammate Tim Frazier for getting a 10-day contract with the Memphis Grizzlies at the time. One of the more interesting aspects of this topic is when players step out of their comfort zone and do something that is totally different from the way they usually play. Like when players who you'd least expect to get up there do so in spectacular fashion.
Perimeter. Oh my, oh man, that is some athleticism. Chris Paul taking heels up ahead. Andre by himself, jams it with the right hand. Oh, look at the Blazer bench, they're going crazy. Andre Miller.
First dunk in 3 years at this time. Inside, here is Redick on a jam.
I'll tell you what, I didn't know Redick could even dunk.
Now let's flip it around. Here are some big men doing little man things.
The inbound, Shaq the catch. He's going to fire a three. Yeah! He hits the three!
Manute with the fling three. Got it. Oh! Down by 14. Manute with another. Oh, my! Not bad.
Damon has that steal stolen. Then Yao a little behind the back. Look at the Houston bench go crazy.
I've talked about Melo having to shockingly cut off his hair back in 2008 due to having lost a bet with his friend in a previous video. But what was even more shocking was when Allen Iverson decided to go for a new look. It was All-Star Weekend 2009 when Iverson, a then Detroit Piston, decided to part ways with his signature cornrows.
Man, I don't want it no more. I can't keep it forever. Crazy.
The only thing left for him to do was reveal it to his all-star teammates.
Son, I ain't never, son, so you got 93.
I've noticed that no one seems to ever really talk about this particular version of Dwayne Wade, but Baldy Wade was on a different level. During the 2008 Summer Olympics, he dominated with this new hairdo, or lack thereof, as he led Team USA in scoring, which was no easy feat considering Carmelo, LeBron, and Kobe were also on the team. He kinda looked like MJ out there. No, literally, with the same number and everything. Here he is explaining why he decided to go bald. Quote, "I've gone bald for the simple fact that I'm focused solely on basketball. I'm not concerning myself with waking up in the morning, brushing my hair, trying to look pretty. I'm really focused on playing and bringing home the gold. Also, in China, I'm not letting anybody cut my hair. If you're not my barber, it's not happening." Also, it looks like Kevin Durant took a page out of his book for the 2012 London Olympics, going with the bald look as well. Alright guys, so let me know some other times where you noticed a player go out of character for a second. Make sure to comment down below and don't forget to like and subscribe.